guys, this is Bradley Abbott with Butter Spice and Why Don't You Have a Slice? Today I'm going to be talking about selenium, what it is, what its benefits are, and tell you why that selenium is important for the human body, why it's an essential nutrient, and why you need it every single day, especially if you're working out. Okay guys, let's get to it. Today there's quite a few things I'm going to discuss with this, and I'll go through the list. Let's get to it. I'm going to go through where selenium is found, what it is, why the soils are deficient in selenium, and how that can cause us as humans to be deficient in selenium. I'm going to go through the harmony and synergy selenium has with other nutrients, and the important role it plays in glutathione peroxidase recycle. I'm going to discuss what that is later on the podcast, so don't worry about that, guys. Also, we're going to discuss free radicals and how selenium is important to fight them off, again with other nutrition, and the importance it plays in your longevity and overall health. So let's get to it. Now I want to talk about selenium, and what is selenium? Well, first up, selenium is an essential trace mineral that is found in igneous rocks, limestone, sandstone, fresh water, seawater, and soils. Even though selenium in soil is not universally distributed, which means there is no way of telling when you pick up that beetroot or that carrot or that tomato. You just cannot tell if there's enough selenium, if any, in that soil, because of the way the farmers, the modern day farmers, use pesticides, herbicides, insecticides heavily. The minerals in the soils become depleted because of this. Not just selenium, but all of the minerals. I mean, you guys have already know that we've already went through sodium and chloride, and we've went through calcium already. So you know by now that they could become depleted, all minerals in the soil. And here's the kicker, guys. Plants can't make minerals. They're genetically incapable of making minerals. They get their minerals from the soil. And when you deplete minerals from the soils with heavy use of chemicals, then you're consuming nutrient-deficient plants. There are about, in total, 60 maps of soils of these minerals. And if you decide to go look them up, I think these are mainly based in the US. There might be some in the UK and Europe. You can go look them up. They're highlighted, they're color-coded, highlighted which parts of the Earth's soils are depleted and which parts are with selenium. It's scattered across the soils of the Earth. Now, because there are deficiencies in the soil, as hard as it is to believe and hear, there are deficiencies in us, guys. And that's the truth. Period. A wise man once said, you don't know what you don't know. The deficiencies of selenium are cystic fibrosis, fibromyalgia, cardiomyopathy, heart attack, high risk of cancer, you get a high risk of cancer, heart palpitations, infertility, low birth rate, fatigue, liver cirrhosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, high infant mortality, and sickle cell anemia, to name a few. Has your jaw dropped yet? Honestly, guys, I think it's absolutely vital for human health. You cannot. This is something that if you ignore will come back to haunt you later in life. And I already know because I've had my health scare, and you guys who have already listened to the first podcast will know that nutrition is vital. It affects us. It affects us all differently, however. Sometimes it takes longer, some people are more tolerable, but in the end it will get you. I'm not talking about the boogeyman, I'm talking about difference in nutrition. And the next thing I want to talk about, guys, moving on from that, is that selenium works in synergy with a plethora of other nutrients. And one in particular is vitamin E. Selenium works with vitamin E to boost your immune system. Selenium and vitamin E work together to help the production of antibodies to help maintain a healthy heart and liver. Now, other nutrients that work in synergy with selenium are iron, copper, iodine, vitamin C, essential fatty acids to use as an antioxidant to help prevent your skin's fatty tissue from going rancid. That's liver spots. I'll mention more about that later on. Phosphorus, potassium, and zinc, mainly for brain and skin function, amongst others. I'd like to take a few minutes here to talk about free radicals. Now, a free radical is an oxygen atom that lost or gained an electron. It basically has an odd number of electrons. And when that happens, it will stick to anything. And when that oxygen atom that's lost or gained an electron sticks to whatever it finds, look out. I mean, for example, look at a banana or an apple. What happens when that banana goes rancid? It starts oxidizing. It goes black, right? It goes black, starts getting black spots. It goes all mushy. And that's what happens. It decays. Just like an apple, just like anything else. If that happens inside the human body, and it's not pretty, it happens. This is what one of the causes of cell death, cell destruction is. Free radical damage to the cell, it oxidizes. Now, your skin is the largest organ in your human body, and it has a layer of fatty tissue underneath. So when you start getting spots like liver spots, now I'd just like to point out that liver spots are called liver spots because of their colour. Has nothing to do with the liver. You start getting liver spots on your skin. That is an indication that the fatty tissue underneath your skin has gone rancid. What does this have to do with selenium? Well, selenium is vitally important for this process so you can fight off free radical damage to your body's tissues. Now, again, I'll mention more about this in future, but it has nothing to do with liver. I would like to say this though, if you have 10 or 20 spots on the back of your hand, liver spots, your immune system is absolutely compromised, and you probably have about thousands, 10,000 on the insides of your organs. Isn't that scary? So when I had a health scare, it terrified the shit out of me. Anyway guys, moving on. There is a naturally occurring powerful antioxidant in your body called glutathione. However, when you get free radical damage, glutathione gives its molecules up to get rid of the free radical damage, to get rid of the free radical molecules. If selenium is present, glutathione is able to recycle itself. If not, well, then it won't be able to recycle itself. Not as much as it did before. It's a vital nutrient, guys. It helps the recycle of glutathione. Now, free radical damage is a natural part of the human body's process. Whenever you're exercising or whenever you're getting rid of waste or you have trauma to the body, free radical damage is normal. But the thing is, however, the process requires nutrition to support and promote your body's process to deal with this free radical damage. So selenium is one of them. There are others that will be mentioned in the future podcast, but I want to keep this focus on selenium for now. Now, I'm going to talk about the importance of selenium and its cofactors in telomere support and what it means for your body's longevity and its overall health for when you're older as well. And it's worth mentioning the importance of selenium and its cofactors slowing down the aging process, which is again is telomere length. Now, your chromosomes are usually presented as an X shape. Imagine that, an X shape. And at the ends of the X are your telomeres. As we age, our telomeres become shorter. It's just a natural part of the aging process. However, there are things that can speed up your aging process or slow down your aging process. Now, in a study that examined the association of dietary selenium intake with telomere length, they took a total of 3,194 adults, all older than 45 years of age. The leukocyte telomere length was measured using the quantitative real-time polymerase chain reaction. Basically the measurement of telomere length. In conclusion, this study found that dietary intake of selenium was associated with longer telomere length in middle-aged and older adults. And this study was done earlier this year, back in January, guys. In another recent study that was published in the Environmental Research Journal, they examined the protective role of selenium in the shortening of telomere length in newborns that was induced, which means induced by heavy metal exposure. The research team looked at 408 mother-infant pairs, and maternal spot urine samples were taken. That's how they did the measurements, the biological measurements. Here's what they found. The effects of arsenic, cadmium, and lead exposure on telomere length were smaller after the adjustment for the selenium level. This just goes to show how important selenium is for not only slowing down our aging process as humans, but in general, overall health. Now, I'm going to read you guys a segment from a book about selenium and other antioxidants in the light of anti-aging. In a book, this book that I'm going to read to you guys is the revised third edition of the Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine, written by naturopathic doctors Michael T. Murray and Joseph Pizzorno. It reads, dietary antioxidants of extreme significance in life extension include vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, beta-carotene, flavonoids, and sulfur-containing amino acids. Now, a lot of you may hear the word sulfur and think, but Bradley, isn't that bad for you? Holy shit, dude. And I can understand where you're coming from. To some degree. But the truth is, no, it's not. And here's why. Remember when I mentioned earlier about our own body's naturally occurring antioxidant glutathione in the podcast? Well, sulfur-containing amino acids like methionine and cysteine actually help the body extend your life. The higher the levels of glutathione and methionine and cysteine, the more your body can fight off toxins. And to top it all off, selenium is responsible for recycling your glutathione, which I mentioned earlier, once those molecules have been used. In addition to this, what's well worth noting down, guys, hope you got your pen and paper ready, is that those same nutrients, vitamin C, E, selenium, beta-carotene, flavonoids, and sulfur-containing amino acids, methionine and cysteine, are of great significance in cancer prevention. Now, those of you who have been listening to my podcast should know by now that the body works holistically. You know your endocrine system is connected to your digestive system is connected to your nervous system, and so on and so forth. I'd like to add here a few more significantly valid pieces of information before we wrap this up, guys. Because, as you know, I'm a big fan of research, and it's important to get as much information as you can. Yeah, which is why I've made this podcast scientifically in more depth, because I wanted to get more research, more sources of nutrition for you guys that are from valid research papers and books. And these sources of information, a couple of them I'll put below the podcast notes for you guys, so you can check them out if you're interested in learning more about this stuff. So I will always try to improve my podcast for you guys and extend the amount of information. And guys, again, if you find something that you don't agree with, that's okay. You're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. If you have some information for me that you think is valid research, that challenges my own research, then I'll go and look it up. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'll always look it up, guys. If you find a piece of research, I'll always look it up. You know, it's important to gain perspective in research and in science-based, clinically verified nutrition. It's always important to gain that perspective and to expand your knowledge. So I welcome the challenges. You know, it's important to grow and try and be open-minded here. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to read a study to you that was conducted in January 2020 this year and was published in the British Journal of Nutrition. It was a study that looked at maternal dietary selenium intake and its association with decreased risk of preterm delivery, which means C-sections and other preterm. Now, obviously, I'm not in the midwifery field, so that's why I only knew about C-sections, but you know, it just goes to show that we're not all knowledgeable, and we don't know things from every field of medical science, because that's virtually impossible. You would spend 3 lifetimes trying to go through that stuff. But anyway, now in this study in the British Journal of Nutrition, they examined this association in 72,025 women with singleton live births from a population-based perspective, Norwegian mother, father and child cohort study. And here's what they found. They found that dietary intake of selenium was associated with decreased risk of preterm delivery. However, the study showed that supplements taken in this study did not have the same effect. Now, I'm going to, for a better use of the word, dismantle this information a little bit for you guys. Remember when I said in an earlier podcast that all supplements are not created equally? I think this was on the last podcast. Those of you who have been listening to my earlier podcast will know about this. All supplements are not created equally. That could have been a factor here. The digestion could have been compromised, which basically means that you struggle to absorb even the smallest of nutritional supplements you're taking, or the quality of the supplement is compromised. And remember, there are a lot of ways that companies can cut corners who don't have integrity or just lazy. Another thing, they could have been taken for both. There could not have been enough nutrition taken for the mother and the child. There are a number of factors why that particular nutritional supplement that was used in the study did not work on those women. And it doesn't matter how many there are, guys. It doesn't matter. It's the quality of the supplement is poor. If it's poor, then it's poor. Period. Doesn't matter. We're going to move to the final two segments here to wrap things up. Another study that I like to read to you guys. Again, this was published in the British Journal of Nutrition in 2001. It looked at selenium in global food systems, and it concluded that if your selenium levels are low in your body, then the greater the chance it contributes to morbidity and mortality due to infectious and chronic diseases. And it also stated that increasing selenium intakes in all parts of the world can be expected to reduce cancer rates. Think about that for a moment. And it's vitally important. Back when this study was published in 2001, it might be have seen as quite a bold statement to make. This is 19 years ago. Even though this information has been around for decades. But as the ever-growing evidence of selenium's benefits climb, it's becoming more and more clear that it is vital for human health. Vital. Now, I'll read one more segment for you guys and girls out there who are wanting to learn more about this stuff. It's a short one, but it's worth stating. And this was done in Dr. Wallach's book, EPIGENETICS, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. He states that selenium has been shown to improve genome stability and maintain telomere function and length. Let me read that again. He states selenium has been shown to improve genome stability and maintain telomere function and length. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could all utilize this information to live longer, healthful years? Damn right. I mean, listen, guys. It's one of those things that the information here is just designed to help you. And I know I can go on a bit of a rant, but I'm just passionate about this field of nutrition. I'm passionate about educating you guys. I'm passionate about helping you guys be the best, get the best possible health you can get. That's one of the main reasons I started this podcast. So, I'm here to help. If something you want to talk about, leave it in the comment section in the podcast, the showcase notes below, and I'll check it out and get back to you. But yeah, it's important, guys. Take this note. There'll be more of this mineral talk, I'm going to call it, in future podcasts. And listen, guys, again, I do appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And again, if you learned something from this podcast and it motivated you to become a healthier version of yourself, then please share this podcast with your friends and family. And thank you so much, guys. This is Bradley Abbas signing off with But a Spice, and why don't you have a spice? Thank you so much. Peace out.